She's spent more weeks at #1 than any other female artist in history. Her latest tour is the highest grossing string of concerts ever to be performed, and at 34, she became the youngest person on Forbes' billionaire list last year. Taylor Swift is a cultural phenomenon, a global pop star whose merest suggestion can mobilize her millions of fans. As she touches down in Paris for the latest leg of the Eras tour, we're taking a look at the girl next door who became the reigning queen of pop. And for that, I'm joined by Morgane Giuliani, author and journalist. You wrote the book Taylor Allison Swift, the rebel who became an icon, and you're a longtime Swiftie yourself, of course. Welcome to the show, Morgane.
Thank you.
Now, as the title of your book says, Taylor Swift is an icon today. But what do you think this is down to? Is it marketing, her brand, or her pure musical talent?
I think it's a mix of all this. Of course, she has magical musical talent. She's been writing songs since she was 12 years old, which is a very young age. She has really mastered this craft of writing lyrics, but also creating melodies, producing her songs. And also, I think she's kind of a genius at marketing, but also she's very earnest and honest. She really appreciates her fans. She feels grateful to them. And she created this bond that is very special and particular. Well, they feel like thick as thieves, They feel very close to her, like she's their best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it might be impossible to quantify talent or personality, but there's plenty of data to confirm Taylor Swift's status at the top of the industry. Her most recent album, The Tortured Poets Department, immediately became the most listened to album on Spotify ever. In a 17-year career, she sold some 200 million albums, won 14 Grammy Awards, and her wealth is now estimated at $1 billion. Now, the financial dimension of her success is obviously immense. Other artists, however, at the same time say it's really hard to make a living from music today. So when they say that Taylor Swift is the music industry, is this an exaggeration? What does she represent for that economically?
Actually, Business Week used to say that she was the music industry 10 years ago already. And they were already right, because she's selling so many albums. It's so hard to sell albums. It's been like that for 20, 30 years now. And she still manages to rally her fans to go to stores and buy her CDs, buy vinyls as well. She's been one of the major reasons why vinyls are knowing such a comeback, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's the music industry, but she's also an anomaly. I think that many people would like to think that she just created this recipe that you can replicate infinitely, but it's not the case. It's very particular to her and her way of seeing business, of doing marketing, and also of staying true to herself. And I think just she manages to check all the boxes.
It's certainly been really lucrative. They call it the Taylor Swift effect, in fact. Yeah. Now, the US has long been the largest music market in the world, and one key part of that industry is country music, where Taylor Swift started out. Let's take a look at her trajectory in this report by Natasha Milray and Aurore Chloé Dupuis.
Taylor Swift, the tale of a young American girl turned global superstar. Born in 1989, she grew up in the heart of Pennsylvania with her loving family. She's always had a knack for music. At 8, she strummed her first guitar, playing the hits of country icons by heart. At 14, she packed her bags for Nashville, Tennessee, persuading her parents to live in the country music capital. A smart move for a rising star. In 2006, at only 16, she released her debut album titled Taylor Swift, selling 500,000 copies. He's a reason for the teardrops on my guitar, the only thing that keeps me wishing on a wishing star.
This video is basically about, unrequited love. Liking someone and they have no idea. It was about this guy who I used to sit next to in class, and I had the biggest crush on him.
Universal themes that turned her into a teenage idol.
I love screaming, it's my favorite sound.
By 2008, her second album, Fearless, became the top-selling record in the US, with over 3 million copies sold. 4 years later, in 2012, she left her country songs behind and turned to pop music. And it was a winning bet. Taylor Swift officially became the record-breaking queen, with hits like Shake It Off going viral worldwide. Enthusiastic Swifties even caused seismic activity at her concerts. But in every success story, there are some rough patches. Her personal life is under constant scrutiny, and she's also a victim of cyberbullying. Despite her country background, traditionally conservative and Republican-leaning, she champions women's rights and the LGBT community. In 2020, she urged Americans to vote for Democratic candidate Joe Biden in the presidential race. 3 years later, aged 33, she was crowned Person of the Year by Time magazine. And guess who's topping the Billboard charts at the moment? Taylor Swift, with a record 14 spots.
Morgan, we see there the lengths that the Swifties, the fans, go to defend her, and often even to visit places mentioned in her songs. Recently, a pub in London was mobbed because she referenced it on her recent album. As someone who started off as a fan yourself, what is it that inspires this loyalty?
I think they feel very loyal to her because she feels like I think for them, it's like she opens her heart to them. So they feel that they have to have this gratitude and loyalty to her. And I think as well, they think she's their best friend, sorry. So they will defend her all the way, and they will go to great lengths to do that. And I think it's also linked to all this scandal around Kanye West, like the fights they had between 2009 and 2016. Which
he suggested that, Beyoncé should have won an award that she won in the end.
That she won, and then he said that he made her famous, but that she was she should be grateful to him, which is just false. I mean, Kanye West didn't make Taylor Swift as she is today. And since then, I think her fans have always felt the duty to really defend her and show the world that she's an important artist, an artist that matters and that should be respected. And that's also why I think that they are so drawn to always buy her CDs, her vinyls, and go to her concerts, even when the ticket prices are very high. Of course, because they love her music, but also because they feel this duty to defend her all the way.
Well, that loyalty could indeed seep into the political sphere, as a recent poll says that some 18% of Americans could follow Taylor Swift's endorsement in next year's presidential election. Going against the mainstream pop tradition of staying silent on political issues, Taylor Swift has already spoken out against former President Donald Trump in the past, as the behind-the-scenes Miss Americana documentary revealed. Take a look.
Do this. I need to be on the right side of history.
Taylor Swift broke her silence on politics over the weekend.
Her voice in a whole new way.
Never find another like me.
So as we see in that documentary, Taylor Swift backed a Democrat in the 2018 midterms in Tennessee. Do you think Donald Trump should be scared of her going into this presidential election and her opinions?
Yeah, I think he's already scared of her because clearly conservatives are talking about her a lot. It's the fact, for example, on Fox News, where they tell her, you should stick to the music, you don't belong in politics, which is just telling a woman, just stick to the kitchen, you don't belong outside of your home, because they know that she has this power to rely, especially young voters, to register to vote and then to vote progressive. So he is afraid of her because he knows that she is such a massive force right now that she could really maybe change the game, change the outcome of the presidential election just by herself, which is also a great deal of pressure for a single artist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there'll be pressure on her in the coming months to say something or not say something. Now, you mentioned that Taylor Swift includes quite a lot of personal references in her songs, clues, riddles in her songwriting. She references her own body of work, her relationships. There's this sort of transparency about her. What do you think this says about the state of pop music in 2024? Has she launched this as a genre?
I think she kind of did because she really just, like puts her heart on the table. But also her songs still remain quite mysterious in some way. She also knows how to blur the lines and so as not to reveal everything from her private life. But also I think her fans, they always want more and more from her. And she manages to, I think, keep this balance between telling them what she's been through, her struggles, but also keep some things private as well. But it's very rare. I mean, she's writing her own lyrics, which is very rare in pop music. Also, it's a genre that is very looked upon, seen as superficial, thoughtless, superficial. And the fact that she's writing her own songs, so singing her own perspective on things. Sometimes it's very about her intimacy, sometimes it can be political, sometimes it can be both. It really just makes her so particular, and I also think that's what makes her such a rare artist compared to others who will just try to get the right gimmick and get the right chorus and have 10 different writers on the songs. It's not what she does. There's really still a craft to her pop music.
And after 17 years, we haven't seen the end of the Taylor Swift era, I don't think.
No, I don't think either. Yeah.
No. Morgane, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap up the show with some of that music. Here is Taylor Swift's Fortnight featuring Post Malone. That's the first single from her latest album. Do stay with us here on France 24, though. There's more news coming up just after this.